It's a great ward. We are very lucky to have the beauty of the riverbank there, and indeed that is something that we will be fighting to ensure there is no further degradation of that beautiful riverbank. It also has a very strong and active community, and I'm dealing with many of them, and it's a great pleasure to do so. At the centre is a great resource, Charing Hospital, which I shall come back to again shortly. So I'm very proud to work for all the people, all the residents of Fulham Reach, and also to work with my two fellow councillors, Councillor Vivian Lukey and Councillor William Cassidy. Now, I'm an old-fashioned sort of guy, and one example is I think I'll use notes for this rather than try and risk forgetting any part of my speech. But I'm also old-fashioned about politicians, and I actually do respect people who undertake public service, and it should be thanked occasionally for participating in society. And so it does give me some pleasure to thank those who preceded us. Gavin Donovan, not somebody I know, but I'm told is by many a decent man and respected by the community. Andrew Johnson, who I know had a very hard job and worked very hard doing it. I may not agree what he did, but that's not the point. And finally, former Councillor Peter Graham. What can one say about Peter Graham? I'm told he's very keen on Twitter. Now again, as I said, I'm an old-fashioned guy, so I don't really understand these things about tweeting and twerping and all this sort of thing, but during the election campaign, my marketing department at the law firm I work called me up and said that somebody called Peter Graham was on Twitter promoting the services of my firm, linking my name to it, which I don't really understand what it's all about, but all I can say is I'm very grateful to Peter Graham.
Spreading the word.
My firm during that period. But undoubtedly he was clearly a very hard-working ward councillor that I can testify to, because on the morning of the 22nd of May I was able to watch his personal vote clocking up one by one during the count, although it was only 21 short, which even a recount couldn't cure. So anyway, best of luck to Peter and those colleagues. To the motion. I'm very proud of Charing Cross Hospital and indeed its A&E. It may not be pretty, but it's vital. And I say that because over the last couple of years I've spoken to an awful lot of people in the neighbourhood, particularly obviously in Fulham Reach. And what was clear to all the people is that there is an enormous amount of concern amongst residents about the hospital and about the A&E. There's an enormous amount of... One example, I spoke to a lady, a nice lady, who was hurrying to get to work, but paused for a minute. She told me she was actually a ward sister at Chelsea and Westminster. And her concern was mainly around the fact that she knew that there were a lot of neighbours she had who were elderly, or becoming elderly, and that she felt, as a professional, working somewhere else, that it would be vital for particularly older people to have a local A&E and a local hospital. She pointed out that, obviously, as people become frail, they become scared. They find it more difficult simply to travel across a busy London. And it is important to think about our population. As I'm sure we all know, Hammersmith has about 182,500 people in it. And it's worth just breaking down some of those, because if you look in the census, you'll find that about 12% of our population, 20,000 people, are under 10 years old. 16,000 households, that's 20% of the households, have houses with persons with long-term health problems or disability. And another 16,500 people are pensioners, another 9%. And that population is obviously growing. The latest budget figures we've drawn up on the advice of officers says that it's growing about 1%. So there are many vulnerable people in Hammersmith and Fulham we need to be looked after. And there are many clever arguments to justify the downgrading of their A&E, knocking down the Hammersmith Hospital. But can we trust the judgments of people who cannot run A&E, who cannot meet inspection standards, and who want to downgrade an A&E to something which is not really an A&E and call it that? We really need to talk to people. And Imperial should listen to the local people. And the reason for that is very simple. Who owns the National Health Service? Who owns Charing Cross Hospital and the local A&E? Well, it's certainly not us, nor is it the politicians in Westminster.
It's us.
It is, nor is it the bureaucrats. It's the people. It's the people of Hammersmith and Fulham. It's the people of this country. So, as I say, I'm an old-fashioned sort of guy, and I believe in listening to people. So, on behalf of the 182,500 residents of Hammersmith and Fulham, I would urge all the members here tonight to support the 16,000 households, which include people with disabilities, to support the 22,000 children under 10, to support the 16,500 pensioners, and to vote for this important motion. Thank you.